Salute, my Quick Classics friends. Welcome to this another edition of Quick Classics on Tuesday, March the 16th, 2021. As always, if you like the content, please click a like, subscribe, and share. The Ides of March. Most of us will be familiar with the Ides of March from Shakespeare's play on Julius Caesar, and perhaps have even had to memorize things like the funeral speech, friends, Romans, countrymen, I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him, and so on and so forth. Uh, at any rate, I thought I'd talk a little bit about the Ides of March. The Ides of March is probably most famous in Western civilization for being that date when Julius Caesar was assassinated on the Ides in 44 BC. And the Ides is actually the middle of a month on the Roman calendar, the calends. And it can fall either in some months on the 13th, in other months on the 15th. And it just so happens in March that is the 15th. And it can be an auspicious occasion for the part of the fasti that are celebrated, the feast, which are typically on the 15th. For instance, the Lupercalia, which is in February, on February the 15th, would be an example of that. It's probably the Ides is probably a relic of a prehistoric lunar calendar that existed in the Italian peninsula and would gradually go through a kind of cultural evolution with the Roman monarchy, and then, of course, in the Roman Republic. Uh, in addition to this, there were also some sort of pragmatic concerns regarding the Ides of each month, not just the Ides of March. The Ides, for example, was a date when debts were to be paid off and accounts settled and this sort of thing. Your books, as it were, balanced. So there was a sort of rubber meets the road aspect to the Ides of March. But again, this is something that's most associated with the death of Julius Caesar, who was at the crossroads, really, of the Roman Republic and the Roman Empire. And this was during the period of the triumvirs, or the triumvirate, in which you have these really megalomaniacal personalities uh, running in to fill this kind of power vacuum. And Julius Caesar, of course, was one of these. And of course, we know the architects of the assassination of Julius Caesar being largely Brutus and Cassius, but there, of course, there were the entire Senate was part of the conspiracy, and there are a couple of sources that we turn to for information about this conspiracy. Um, but before I go on to that, I should probably say that one of the famous scenes in the Shakespearean play is, of course, the seer warning Julius Caesar about the Ides of March. Um, if we're to believe ancient sources, then this was a haruspex, or somebody who specialized in the reading of entrails. So it would have taken a kind of sacrifice for this particular kind of seer to try and discern some foreboding event in the life of Julius Caesar. And um, although that scene is played out in Shakespeare, we only know the identity and the type of um, seer from ancient sources. In this case, Plutarch, who tells us the kind of seer and not just that, but the name of the seer, Spirina. Um, Now, Plutarch is also really the best historical source for accounts about the death of Julius Caesar, but you could also look at Suetonius, who wrote a biography of Julius Caesar, and he also recounts some very interesting things. Ovid also writes about Julius Caesar, because Julius Caesar was a Pontifex Maximus. Also, he was actually a priest of Vesta. Ovid considers his assassination a kind of sacrilege, despite Caesar's sort of megalomania and the fact that he probably wasn't really that good despite his popularity for the Roman Republic. At any rate, Caesar, of course, is called into the senatorial chambers under the auspices of uh, accolades and the Senate lauding him and giving him laurels of a sort. We of course know then, those of us who know the story, he's attacked by Brutus and Cassius and the other senatorial conspirators, and dies the death of 1,000 cuts, literally. Well, maybe not literally, but you get the idea. There are a lot of people stabbing him. And Shakespeare, interestingly enough, tells us that, we all know that famous Latin line where Julius Caesar looks up at Brutus, who was a kinsman of his, and says, "Et tu, Brute," and you, Brutus. But actually, Plutarch tells us that Julius Caesar said this in Greek, and it wasn't "and you, Brutus," but it was "kai su teknon," and you, child, because of the familial relationship there, and uh, the fact that Brutus had sort of not really adopted, but taken Brutus, or rather Caesar had had sort of taken Brutus under his wing at one point. So there's some things about the Ides of March that maybe you had never considered. A little historical background, some sources to consider, and now that you know that Caesar actually said "kai su teknon," and "you child," a term of affinity, uh, perhaps this is enough to prompt you to want to study Greek. And if you've been wanting to do that, there's no better time than right now to do it, because this week I'm actually offering a heck of a deal on the new Rudiments of the Greek New Testament course. And the deal is for $300, you not only get the Rudiments of New Testament Greek, but you also get your choice of one of the three certification programs, 12-course certification programs: biblical anthropology, biblical demonology, or preternatural morphology, and you get a huge ebook library to go with it. That's a value of about $650 for $300. So again, that's between 8 and 12 months of instruction, depending on how you pace yourself with all of that. So now would be a great time to do it. You can keep part of it. You can give other parts of it away if you want to. It's up to you. So I'll put some instructions in the description down there. And as always, if you want to enroll, take advantage of this very limited time offer, you can email me at professorburton@yahoo.com and put stimulus check in the subject, since this is the Institute of Biblical Anthropology stimulus check for this week. So again, I hope that you found this helpful, this little breakdown of the Ides of March and its association with Julius Caesar. And I will see you soon on the next Quick Classics. Godspeed.